Diversity has defined my life since childhood. My family is made up of diverse ethnic groups, including Armenians, Assyrians, Arabs, Greeks, and Italians. On any given day, my interactions would require me to speak many languages, such as Armenian, Arabic, Italian, Turkish, when I was growing up, adding French, Assyrian as I got older. My early years were spent in Beirut East, Lebanon. There was Beirut West as well. During this time, in the 1980s, Beirut was being torn apart by a civil war. The fighting was not only between half of the city, but would also be street by street fighting for control. The war created chaos and divisions between the communities. Each ethnic group and religious groups kept to itself and was very protective of its members. Given my family's openness toward diversity, I could not understand why people would cheer when bomb fell in Beirut West, or why they could cheer when the fighting moved into our neighborhood. Our days were spent listening for the sound of guns moving closer, and many nights we spent in candlelight underground bunkers for safety. This chaos and division was what I saw when I began my first day of school. Like most of new students, I was scared. It took my mom more than an hour to convince me even to enter the classroom. When I finally entered, I sat alone for some time. Bored of that, I finally talked to the boy sitting next to me. He too was scared and lonely. This was Eddie, my first ever friend. Eddie was from an Armenian Protestant family. So we had many things in common. First, we had the language, and recently we had the will and the desire to run away from the classroom, literally. When the Lebanese civil war intensified, my parents decided to move the family to the neighboring Syria to keep us safe. We arrived in Aleppo, and I was quickly enrolled in a new school, this time run by a Catholic brotherhood. I missed Eddie and my whole life back in Beirut. The school without Eddie was lonely. Until one day, a boy invited me to play with him. This was Majid. Majid was an Assyrian boy, but his first language was Arabic. Despite the differences with Majid, we became friends, and indeed, I quickly realized that Majid was my new Eddie. As the years passed, my friends groups diversified. While many of you take the opportunity to make friends across cultural and religious differences for granted, the unstable world in which I lived excluded this possibility. Each group remained committed to itself and found outsiders to be object of suspicion. I, however, continued to search for my new Eddies. Best friends who became close to consider family. As a teenager, I left Syria for boarding school in Italy. This is where I met Maurizio, my Italian Eddie. The story continued to repeat itself. Muhammad, the Syrian Muslim, Nail, my Palestinian Israeli friend, Bassam, the Iraqi by birth, Dimitris, my Greek classmate in Edinburgh, Scotland, Elodie, my French co-worker in Manchester, England, and finally Esther, the American girl I fell in love and followed her to the United States. All of my Eddies come from diverse ethnic, religious, and cultural backgrounds. But they all shared a single characteristic. They were moral individuals I was proud to have as friends. As Abdul Baha said, Abdul Baha is the elder son of Baha'u'llah, the founder of Baha'i Faith. Consider the flowers of a garden, though differing in kind, color, form, and shape, yet inasmuch as they are refreshed by the water of one spring, revived by the breath of one wind, invigorated by the rays of one sun, this diversity increased their charm and added into their beauty. How unpleasing to the eye if all flowers and plants were all of the same shape and color. The words I really would like to bring your attention to just right in the middle, where Abdul Baha says, diversity increases charm and adds the beauty. This is a striking image, an essential reality, which applies to the flowers of a garden as it applies to the friends who have brought beauty and diversity to my life. Diversity was always part of everything in my life. But an equally important thing was often missing: the inclusiveness. The importance of accepting diversity and embracing differences became very clear when I found myself in my early 20s a Catholic monk. I thought that this life was going to be the fulfillment of my dreams, a life dedicated to service of others in a community of similarly minded men and women. During my studies, I encountered dogmatic limitations, which challenged me. My life had taught me many truths, some of which seemed incompatible with this new environment. While there, I wished for more opportunities to serve a broader and diverse communities. I did not want to preach for folks of the faithful. I wanted to make life better for those who really needed the help. After 2 years of service and study, I decided to leave priesthood in search of my own path in this wonderful and diverse world. For many, many years, my search continued. Recently, I had the good fortune to be exposed to the Baha'i Faith. These new friends are without exceptions diverse, open, and welcoming. Today, my path so far led me here with you. I am grateful for the opportunity as I consider us to be part of huge, diverse, one family. We may have different religions, different languages, different colored skin, but we all belong to one human race. For this reason, we must remember that we all have the power to create a space which welcomes everyone without prejudice or fear. I encourage you to remember Baha'u'llah's words. Let your vision be world-embracing rather than confined to your own self. Today, I challenge you to make a friend that you would not normally talk to. Talk to a colleague that you don't feel comfortable with. Actively work to take away your fears and prejudice. And I am sure that you will find your Eddie inside everyone. Thank you.